How's everybody doing? So happy New Year. So this particular episode is kind of an on the bench kind of maybe midweek thing I'm going to try to do. So it's sort of a breakaway from the more sort of editorial style, you know, feature content that I like to release on Sunday. Like every Sunday I release a video. That's kind of the has been the plan for a while, and I plan to stick with that. So a couple things I want to talk about. I'll talk about these kiosks in a second, and I'll show you where they're going to go on the layout. They're kind of cool, and they've been something that I've been procrastinating on. You know how you do that sometimes, where you just, oh yeah, okay, I'll get to it, right? But I just forced myself. I just said, okay, now do it. Like I wrote it down on paper, laid it on my desk so that it was the first thing I saw in the morning. Finish the kiosks, you know. So I'm going to finish them, but like they go on each side of the barge slip, because I've been poking away at that because there's still a lot of little details I need to do that I may have mentioned, like lamps. Like I want to light it up and everything, and there's other little things I've sort of neglected. Like I'm really close though, and then there's the tug and the ferry, which is all part of Section 1, the marine terminal. But I'll talk about these in a second, but I just want to mention a couple of things. Yeah, so this is kind of on the bench thing, because people have asked, you know, can you show the bench and tools? And I thought, well, do I just do one feature video, or should I just do a kind of a midweek thing here and there, maybe a couple times a month or something? You know, like a more current kind of on the bench episode, because a lot of the things that I do, like there's a little bit of a delay because you can't get around that. Like you can't do things chronologically like the way this channel is, or a lot of channels are, not with model making. Not as a one person, like you just can't do it if you don't have, like it just doesn't work that way. There's no time, there's no, you know, it's impossible to do, right? And then have a level, like, you know, maintain your health and have a structure that's consistent and still be able to increase the quality and upgrade and, you know, keep the learning curve, keep crushing the learning curve, bring in quality content to the subscribers, you know. So, and that's my goal. I have content, like years of content. I really do. In the can, I probably have a few months. It's not all in post-production, but believe me, I'm active. But it's the way it is, right? So sometimes you get a bit of a delay, and sometimes you'll say, well, I thought, why is that signal there? Because it wasn't there last week. Well, it's because maybe some shots were shot, you know, that morning, or the day before or something, right? Like it's just the way it is. Like movies are made that way. They shoot the ending first sometimes, you know. It's just, you know, they shoot a movie for a year and then they edit it for 4 years sometimes. You know, like really good movies, like good feature films are like that. They can be, right? So content is similar, but on a way smaller scale. So if I do something like this every now and again, it kind of gives you a current update about what I'm doing in between the feature releases and everything. So I've just been fiddling around with details. Remember how I think I mentioned that? So these I picked up Details West. They're older kind of metal castings. Pewter, I think. They're RB19 or 919 RB-919 set of 12 turnout rail brace adjustable types. I've been sort of adding some of these to some of my turnouts that are up close on the layout that I want to kind of detail up, you know, because you know how this is, right? The rabbit trail, you go down, right? But that's part of the sort of style of River Road, though. It's a fine scale layout. When I say fine scale, like this is the stuff that you get into. You scratch and you use this. I mean, you know, it can be quite a deep rabbit hole, as most of you know, but it's fun though. It really gives the layout character. So, oh yeah, and then these lamps. I'm using some of these woodland scenic lamps. Like I don't really like a lot of detail parts that much. I mean, some are really good, obviously, but some, like woodland scenics, for example, like they make these lamps, right? I like the style because they're like that here where I live in Fort Langley. Even though it's 2023, we have these down our streets because it's the town that we live in. We have a lot of pride in this community, and it's a historical town, right? So it's relevant in the modern world, these. And when I saw these at Woodland Things, I thought, yeah, these look pretty good, but like if I can critique them, I like the system. I really love the plug and play dimmable system that I have, and I endorse that. But you know, these are a bit, leave something to be desired, eh? Like they're all warped and They're a funny kind of plastic, you know, you sort of bend them and they have a memory and then they want to bend back. And I don't want to submerge them in hot water. I mean, I tried a bit of heat, but they are what they are, right? And the molds are a bit shaky and they're full of flash and things like that. So I was cleaning this up last night and then I got to install a new plate. I used matte medium, you know, because I love this as a glue as well. If you're okay with waiting overnight, it's just unreal. Like, you don't even have to clean the paint off the part, right? Like you would with solvent or CA, right? Because it is a paint and it just blends right into the paint and grabs on. It's really nice stuff. And it always stays a little bit flexible so you can actually force it and bend it and it won't crack, right? But anyway, so I'm rebasing them because they're concave on the bottom and they don't even sit flush on the ground. Like they're really crude that way. But some people don't care, but I do, because, you know, I don't know how to define what I do. Maybe discerning, I guess, is a safe word. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm re-and-re-ing these. Like, look at the bend in the tube there. See how it's sort of bends, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna clean these up a bit, take the flash off, repaint them, and weather them, and they'll be fine. Because I don't want to scratch this right now. I mean, I could add a brass, like I've done it before in O, but anyway, those are what they are, and they'll be cool where the slum landlord is. So these I want to talk about for a second, and I'll just close by taking you up to show you how they go on the barge slip. I'll show you a couple of photos quick. So here's one, like they're not the same. Like this one's on the left side, which faces out on the layout. So here's the towers. I've built all this. I have to do these details here still, cabinets, and there's some cable kind of windlass kind of style. They cinch the ferry or barge up tight to the head of the ramp. And then this is the control box, and these are mounted on the side, right? Okay, like this. And you see the cables hanging down? That's so when the barge at the tide goes up and down to meet the ferry head or barge, like this ramp goes up and down with the tide to line up, then you need this slack for all the cables because the control box is here and it runs into this cabinet, etc. So these, I don't want to glue on. They're press fit, I'll show you, so that if I ever take it down, everything's component style, then everything, you know, just certain components pop off, right? That's the way I'm designing this layout. So, but this is coming along pretty good. So I'll show you how that goes on. And then kind of thankfully, I kind of sigh of relief. Oh, good, I don't have to do this side because it's not like that on the other side. I don't have photos right here handy, but here's a close-up of this one. You can see the cabinet here, and it's just a wood frame and corrugated roof, which I used by Evergreen, but I scraped it, right? Because you know how the Campbell metal, I like plastics, I can weld everything, but with these Campbell plastic, or sorry, the Evergreen gloss, you can just scrape the edges and cheat the thin scale look like you see here. That's what I do, because you know how I love to work in plastic. And with metal, it's pinned, right? These railings are brass, but they're pinned into this block here. With this, I don't even think I use C8. Well, I might have on the bottom a bit, but just to lock them in. So I'll take these up top. Like let's go up to the layout, and I'll show you where they go. Okay. Okay, so here we are up at the layout where this is the barge ramp head and then the approach section. I haven't really talked a lot about this model actually for, I don't know, over a year at least anyway. I mean, it's covered way back if you go into the videos and scroll back to the very beginning. Like you'll find it if you scroll through videos. But if you're on a TV, I don't know how you do that. But if you're on a desktop or even a phone, you should be able to do it, but maybe not. YouTube's very desktop friendly. Sorry for the shadow too. It's really hard to avoid when you're filming miniatures, especially with video, and there's just no room to even move around to avoid shadows, which you don't see when you're standing in front of the layout live anyway. So a couple things quick. Notice the front head here unfinished, right? This is a piece of tape here. I never mentioned this. Like this will peel off. And the reason why I did that, see, is because when I designed the ferry, it hooks up to this, and then I can do all the details and just weld it right onto the front. The couplers that line the ferry up and lock it in. And then there's a whole pile of details here yet to do, cabinets and winches. There's the cables with hooks. They pull this up tight, the ferry. Like they're all different. There's all different standards. Like this is sort of a universal barge head. So they come in different designs, right? The head of a barge or ferry to meet. This is designed this way with a three-way, etc. So they're used different ways. They use the single one mostly lately or whatever, just the single line, because there's the turnouts built onto the barges, the really long ones. And the ferries accommodate, you'd have to see them all to really understand it. So eventually you have to decide what you're going to do to make it functional. If you make this too complicated, then it won't work reliably and you just won't use it. It's as simple as that. But that's further down the road. When this summer, hopefully I'll be starting the ferry and planning this and getting it to level and merge up into these slots where the rails go, etc. So here's the kiosks. Did I show you photos of this, what it looks like? Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to glue these on. I'm going to paint them, as per prototype photos, but they mount like this, see? And then when this head, it gets pivoted, like there's a hinge here. See on this big block here? So this whole ramp is hinged right here. The prototype is. So this, depending on the tide, because it's a tidal river, the Fraser River, the mouth into Howe Sound's not far away from here. There's an I-beam, I'll just mention that quick. That goes underneath. That's another part I haven't finished building, and it attaches to these rams on the bottom. The big upside down hydraulic rams that attach to this I-beam. And it lifts this up and down. But anyway, I'm getting off track there. But so the tide comes in and out, so this adjusts. So there'll be actually, an angle here sometimes where the cars roll from some photos. I don't know if I have any photos right now of that. But anyway, this here is this is so that they can access the ladder. So this goes up and down with the ramp, and this ladder's in line with it, right? And then they get up onto this tower for whatever reasons that they might have. And then this, fits in like this. And I made all this portable as well. Can you imagine if I'd have poured resin into this? I'd never be able to do this. It would just be ugly too. That stuff does to a model that's fixed on a water surface like this. I'd never do that. But anyway, you can see I've also have the lights. I made these so they'll need LEDs, etc. But that's how that goes. And then these will be able to pop off because the whole ramp comes off. There's one stove bolt that holds in the center spline, maple spline, that sucks this whole ramp down to this acrylic water surface. So if I ever have to move the layout, it's all done safely. Nothing gets broken and smashed, right? So so once these are done, a few other minor things, some details here, and this front part, eventually I'll do that. Like I say, when I do the ferry, this will be really cool. And just in closing on the ferry, like people have mentioned, well, you don't have room for the ferry. Yes, I do. I'm building half of the ferry, the front half, and it's not a fixed feature on the layout. It's being built portable to bring cars on and off the layout from Vancouver Island, logging camps, other marine terminals up the coast. That was in the plan from the very beginning. There's only so much space to go around. Like I have, only like, I don't know, 30 linear feet on this run, let's say. So what I'm going to do, delete the Slumlord or the slum landlord section too, to push this whole thing down another 4 feet just for a ferry, right? So you have to make compromises. That's the way it is with model railroading. There's no, like, we all face that, right? What are you going to put in, but what are you going to take out? What do you have to leave out? It's painful, but it's the way it is. So I'm trying to have the best of both worlds. So you'll see, people will be quiet when they see it. They'll finally understand, oh, I see the method to his madness, you know. And the ferry, when it butts up against here, the cars, it'll hold 9 long tank cars probably or something, and I don't know, 9 or 10 cars. It comes away, it slides away and goes underneath the layout to staging. Cassette style staging. That's the way the shelf layouts, like that's the genre and style that came from the UK, right? The diorama style shelf layout. So that's the way it works. So you can't have your cake and eat it too if you don't have the space. And besides, as you all know, I don't want a larger space. I love this layout the way it is, and I'll be engaged with it for a long, long time. So, and it's designed, it's finally the perfect layout for me. Sometimes it takes most of your life to get there, but so that's the way this will work. And like I say, the other side doesn't have, strangely, does not have a roof and stuff. It's just sort of open to the weather. This isn't quite finished yet, but it just has a cabinet and a storage kind of bin. And this one has a cabinet as well. So that'll be good because that feels more completed. And then in closing, there's the lamp standards here, right, which I'll do last because I don't want to be reaching in and knocking them off. And I'm even thinking about making those portable as well. They'll have to be wired underneath here. So, and then the detail of the I-beam, which attaches, I even drilled the hole here. You can see where it'll attach as these hydraulic rams go up and down, and they lift the whole front of this ramp with a I-beam to line up to the barge, yeah, like I mentioned, yeah. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. That's sort of the on the bench, you know, midweek episode for you, just to keep you in the loop and let you know and update you as to what's going on, okay? So happy modeling, cheers, and I hope you have a great day.